Good morning. I thought of taking up a non-technical topic this time and go through something that a lot of people might be going through, because we've had a lot of these conversations on our lunch tables in office as well as in various gatherings that we have gone through. So I was coincidentally in one of the previous talks, this talk came up, especially with regards to career guidance. And I thought, why not take this topic up and discuss? So, overthinking is a common phenomenon that a lot of people go through. And I just thought we'll spend a little more time on understanding this topic. I will have two parts in this talk. First part is going to be the presentation, which will take about 20-25 minutes. And then I'm looking at having a conversation or a discussion session with the rest of you all in the next second half. That way, we will try and spend a more time. Meanwhile, if you find that there are certain points that you would like to raise while I am speaking, please unmute yourself and let me know what is the topic that you will we can discuss there too. So please stop me when you would like to take up that discussion. So what is overthinking? I tried to find various solutions to that statement and come up with an answer. I could not get it something convincingly. So this is the closest I have been able to really see through it. There's a difference between overthinking and thinking. In thinking, you will see that there is a starting point. There are certain milestones that go through that thinking and it ends up at a point. But in overthinking, you don't start at that point. You start at a random point and you continue having a lot of thoughts leading to it, and each thought leading to the next one without concluding at that end point. So you get stuck in a loop or a conversation or a clutter of thoughts which are non-linear. If it was linear, you would land up at thinking. So this clutter of non-linear thoughts take you continuously in this statement. So this was the closest I could get to visually represent what is the overthinking correctly. The second best I could represent this is this way. Same thing, but with a few questions which typically lead to what it is. And when I see there are a lot of software engineers who understand these conditions, or the logic that goes through is, you have too many if then else or if else or what if conditions that come up, and you are in a non-stop loop in them itself. You do not find a way to exit it. So this is something which I think about as overthinking. Now, I would like to open up to the participants and say, what is their representation or their thought of what is overthinking? Can you please share that? Or you could write in the chat window, what is it?
Overthinking, I mean, which is beyond our comprehension.
Beyond our comprehension, okay?
Which we already know we can't achieve, but still we are trying to think in those terms.
Okay, which we already know that we cannot achieve, but we are still trying to think. Okay, that's a nice perspective.
Unsure of an outcome, but we still want the outcome to be something that we want it to be.
Oh, yes. Shocked at the outcome, but yeah, it's still not well. What else? Oh, I see some wonderful comments. Noor Saab or Noor Madam says, overthinking is making simple things very complex. True, that is what exactly the previous slide I was trying to mention, that it is actually linear and can become simple, but you made it complex. Suhail Saab says, yes, as you said, what if it will not work or not, etc. That is true. Mubin Saab is saying, if you're doing some dedicated job, but meanwhile, we spot some audit point, and then apart from targeted point, we divert and start excessive thinking rounds on that audit point, which we cannot stop. I think this is beautifully worded, and I would like to copy this statement and keep it as a reference, because it does give an interesting point of reference. So just to let you know, I am doing it here. So this is a very good point. Thank you. And I really appreciate this kind of statement. I've not heard in a long time. So yes, this is overthinking. Now, there is one more perspective that can capture it a little better. And it is that overthinking is something that you think about what could have happened in the past, could have, should have, and you get troubled by it. And there is also something that in the future, you try and look at what if scenarios. What if this can happen? What if this could happen? So you go into creating a scenario which is not real, and you create those and understand what is happening in the future, or try to understand what could happen, and then compare and correlate what happens in the past. But the problem with overthinking is you are never in the present. What you need to live in the present is lost for what could have been done in the past or what you can do in the future. So overthinking takes you between a journey of having a ping pong game or a table tennis game between past and future, but not the current. Another thing is, it is a scenario creation. What you're doing is you're creating a scenario in your mind and then trying and solving that scenario. You understand? You're trying to create a scenario in your mind and solving it, but you really do not have that scenario coming forward. So it is like chess people. A lot of people playing chess, thinking of various different scenarios and how they can conclude in the future. So there are two things. One, overthinking might help you to prepare for extremely new scenarios which you might not know, or it will take you down a negative spiral. So there are two different directions. The first direction we would call a think tank. You group of people, you make them sit down, give them a scenario and tell them, create a forecast of all the various possible scenarios, the challenges, the possible solutions that you can come up, what are the ways to address it, and bring it out. You may use one of them or you may not use one of them also in the future, but you at least know that if you get a certain kind of a problem, you can lead that. So this is the positive aspect, and which we can call it as preparation. So you'll prepare ahead for a situation, and this is needed when you're doing a strategy for the future, when you're trying to build a vision that what can happen or what you want to happen. And if you are on a mission, what is the current, what is the trajectory that you do? And this is also part of good project management. But there is a different side to it. This is where typically overthinking is referred to in the negative connotation, where you're looking at what if it doesn't happen? No, can I do it? Can I not do it? How do I do it? What are the challenges that I can go through? Am I ready to face those challenges? These kind of questions lead to a lot more. So it is like this. When you're having a discussion, instead of saying, I would like to talk to you and I would like to give you suggestions, rather than doing an and which takes it to the positive direction, you say, I would like to talk to you, but I would like to give you some suggestions. So just the difference between and but used in a conversation takes it to a positive or a negative connotation, and the situation becomes tense. And brings excitement, but brings anxiety. So you can easily dissolve these solutions when you're looking at it. So this is something which according to me, what I think could be a thing. Now, if you look at this, making it more visual makes it more catchy and also doesn't bind you down to a certain definition of what it could be. So this was a confusion that I went through, and I decided that I will only use a visual representation and leave it to the participants to imagine what could be the various scenarios they could go through. Now, when I was going through, I first thought, what could be the causes of stress? And when I went and thought of what I myself can go through, the first thing I were looking at was stress. Could be a work-related stress or any other stress. And there was an illusion of control that you can possibly look at. But what I did not find was, and I had to dig deep while I was reading through this topic over the last course of 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I found that a lot of people have this overthinking ability when they are striving for perfection. Having a little bit of perfection will actually, striving for perfection will actually drive you in this direction. So like they said, getting it 90% right and getting it 95% right to getting it 99% right takes a lot of effort. And in this effort, you're thinking of scenarios, what can be done better? So you started thinking, and that goes in a loop saying what can be better, but you're losing the trade-off on, is it really worth to do it better? Right? What are the takeaways if you really make it that good? Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? How much time is it going to get? And what is your payoff? So sometimes when you do in execution, when we're doing work, we already try to focus in, can we get to the 90% than the 99% first? Because 90% ensures that work is in progress. But there is always going to be a small 1 or 2 member team who says, no, I would like to really hit the 99%, ensure that the work is done with that kind of a perfection. You can live with that. You can encourage such people, but you should also keep a time bound saying, if by this time it is not reached, we will go ahead with a particular milestone. We will come to a certain portions of resolution. How do you resolve that in a little later? Next factor was there are some genetic factors. I was surprised to read that there are a lot of people who are genetically overthinkers, meaning their environment in which they grow up and what has happened in the previous generation does get carried forward, and there's a lot of thinking that goes on. So this is one of the things. Another thing is the childhood experience. When you either go through a negative or a positive experience, you start to think about it, right? It is also a little negative also. It is also a little positive. When is it positive? When you get recognized for your efforts, that childhood experience ensures you to think a little. But when you are admonished for your childhood experience and you're not encouraged, you start thinking again saying, I was not benefited, nobody encouraged me, nobody gave me some values, or did not respect my time that I gave for it, or my intelligence or my thought, so why should I do it? But that goes into a negative spiral. Another people who learn is observational learning. So this is something that they don't directly teach to somebody, but when they observe a second person or a third person, they think, this is something I could do. This is something I can try to do. We can look at it. How else can I achieve this? So they will go into learning, this is an indirect learning method. They learn from others' experience. The last thing where I find that when you really have anxiety, right? When you are not confident about yourself, when you are not thorough with your preparation, you all learn to think of overthinking going through. Again, when you do not have a control over a lot of things, you go into illusion of things. So people with typically micromanaging thought processes have an issue where they think that when they are not in control, they will not be able to do it. And that leads them into finding scenarios where they can gain control rather than give control to somebody else and trust them. Right? This again comes into the picture. Right? So before I go into overthinking and professional life, what do you think I have missed over here? I would like to take those points now. So please either put it in the chat window or unmute and tell me what else could be the points, because these are just ones which I felt. Now, if there are something else, I would definitely like to make a note of it.
Is family is also part of overthinking?
Salary,
Families.
families. Okay. Families, yes, that sounds like a right one. Let's see if I can annotate here. No, I'm not able to annotate. I will. Okay, you were saying family, is it? Okay. I see pressure also coming up.
Fear of failure.
Family. Then there was pressure. Then there is fear of failure. Yes, society. No, society, I have come to realize that it is a cumulative impact of all of these, and it is something you can work around. Unexpected scenarios. Yeah,
I think by society, it's also a reference like log kya kahenge, something of that sort, right?
Yeah, log kya kahenge has destroyed more people's peace than it has actually benefited somebody. So I'll probably write literally log kya kahenge. No, just look at it. These
I have one funny statement about it, सबसे बड़ा रोग क्या कहेंगे लोग.
सबसे बड़ा रोग क्या कहेंगे लोग. I would write that down here. सबसे बड़ा रोग.
Can FOMO be a part of it?
This way also. I would convert the English rogue, Hindi rogue to English rogue also. क्या कहेंगे लोग. Wonderful. Children's future. Yes, this is something which I didn't think about, but for this context of the talk, but this is something that is definitely gives a lot of sleepless nights to a lot of people. Yes.
Comparison with others.
Comparison, definitely.
Yeah, can FOMO be a part of it? FOMO, missing.
Fear of missing out. FOMO. Yep.
Yeah, fear. Yep.
I think what I will do is I'll stop sharing and actually go to a fresh slide because the content is quite a lot here. Just give me a moment. I'll open up a new slide because there are quite a lot of wonderful points coming up and I just want to capture them. Yes, sure. What are the other points you were saying? Look, kya kahenge? What else?
FOMO.
Come again?
FOMO, right?
FOMO.
Fear of missing.
What else? I think I heard somebody somewhere there's something called YOLO. Could somebody help me what this YOLO means? Somebody was saying you live life once or something.
You only live once.
Yeah, that's correct.
You only live once. Thank you.
Accountability.
Accountability. Yes. Who else?
Financial issues.
Come again, financial?
Financial issues.
Financial issues. Right? What else? No, look at the kind of spectrum of issues that we have. And I somehow feel this one point has not come up. I'm just waiting for one more word that would come up. Just waiting if somebody would say that. There are some people leaving me.
What if we lose the present things?
Come again?
What if we lose the present things which we have? The fear
Lose
of
the
losing
current
things.
ones. Yeah.
The fear of losing the present things which we have.
Yes. Fear of losing. That's right. Yeah. Fear of losing current things in life. Nice. What else? Let me change the color just so that I can go away from these ones. Yes, please. I'm just trying to number, just see what is the kind of. What are the things that you're missing out? I somehow feel that one or more points is not coming out here. Health, becoming old.
Fear of losing a top position.
What was the other one? Fear of?
Losing the top position which someone is currently holding.
Yeah, that's again fear of losing. Yeah, fear of losing one's position.
The health and becoming old are more or less intuitive. Right? If you're deteriorating in your health, is when you start overthinking.
True.
Or if you mean to say the other way around, that we're not getting, that I'm not getting.
Yeah. Another one I saw is thinking far ahead. No, this is one thing I'm still looking at, and I will go ahead with it. And I would say, I'll put it in bold. Responsibilities. Responsibilities at various ends will actually give you a lot of stress, a lot of this thought process that you go through, right? Have you ever, why have you not thought that this can be there? Oh, lovely points. Lovely points. Uncertainty. Very nice. Uncertainty, sukoon, loss of sukoon, peace. These are great points. Sense of achievement. Amazing. Micromanagers, totally true. Stepping out of your comfort zone.
Sense of belonging as well.
Sense of belonging. Beautiful.
I mean, in professional sense mostly.
Yes. I was actually coming to these right in the next point. Thank you, Khalid Saab. Very well said. Religion. I would probably also have. So religion, I would say, speaking of it, and following it also gives you, I've heard it gives people stress. I don't know in what sense, but yeah, I get that. So great points, great points. Now, I think with this, you have completed most of the points I was expecting, and these are some good. So let me just go through these sheets once again. So apart from these smaller bubbles that I have, we now have got a lot of other points that we have covered, which can give us anxiety, which can go into overthinking. Lovely. So
Sir, please share recording of this session after completion of this session.
sure, you will be getting the recording of this as Saif Saab has informed. It will be available online on YouTube. You can have a look at it.
Yeah, sir. Please share the link of the YouTube video
Yeah. we will
in
do
group.
that.
Okay, thank you.
So let's me go to the next stage where really wanted to focus on overthinking in professional life. Right? What do you do? And the first thing I thought of coming up was, what does your work-life job satisfaction suffer? And this is one of the most appropriate graph I found, because I'm a person who is like science and who tries to explain with graphs. And this is typically where I find that excessive planning at some point of time, though gives you a lot of results, but you get a burn off happening in your life. You can overplan, yes, but what happens is beyond a certain stage of planning, when you go overplan, it is actually counterintuitive. Your results will actually see a dip. And it is not just that your results is taken, it is mostly your behavior will change. Your approach to solving a problem changes. You get fatigued, right? Because you're planning, you have a lot of burnout coming in. And things happen is you don't know where to stop, or you don't acknowledge where to stop. You might know, but you will not acknowledge where to stop. Right? So another thing is, your job satisfaction is directly correlated to the results. So there, your performance gets impacted. Slowly, you start becoming a burden to the team. All because you didn't know where to stop. Because beyond a certain thing, you'll only see a downfall. It's a roll-off. And typically when we work in the area that I work in, electronics industry, we work on something called what is the gain of an amplifier. So an amplifier needs to help you get boost your input. But beyond a certain point, right? Beyond a certain point, you do not get any gain, you do not get any benefit. You only get a loss. So that we call a gain roll-off. So this is a point again where over-planning will give you gain roll-off. Right? So what do you have to look in professional life? How do you go through with this one? And this is something that I'm trying to come across. And what I felt was, you need to have a broad direction in mind. Right? Have a broad direction in mind, but not an extremely narrow focused point. Right? Once you have a broad direction, you know that, okay, this is where I say between 90% and 99%. This is what comes into picture. Have the 90% goal, get that broad direction in mind. If things don't work, focus on the next step. See what can you do in the next step rather than just getting stuck there. then trust your instinct. See, your instinct, your gut, your intuition is a cumulative experience of right from your childbirth to this place. So everything is a subconscious which is guiding you. Along with that, I have heard or I have read some papers or work or spoken to a few people where they say you might also see previous generations' instincts within your instinct too. It comes as a virasat or as a handover from the previous generation to you. Some kind of instinct is built into you. Next, let go of the outcome. Because we said, right, all of your planning, all of your stress, overthinking is basically on the outcome. Sometimes you know that beyond this, I do not have control. So till the line of control, you keep what you can have. Beyond it, outcome you cannot control. So let it go. And at that point of time, you need to be flexible. Right? Once you become flexible, you have a look at it. Now, there is one thing which I feel that it's my personal opinion. I do not know about others, but after beyond a certain point, when you do not have control, you just need to trust that everything will work out just fine. This is the point where you get sukoon. This is the point where you get peace. This is where you can take the next step. Otherwise, you'll get stuck in the particular way. Right? So this is where I come up to a phase where in your workplace, you're looking at workplace insecurity. And this definitely hits. So what I feel is this number hits a lot of people once they hit that 10 to 15 year mark in the industry. Or between that number, it starts where you first start having an overall doubt about your growth, your relationships, and your performance. And from then on, you are now trying to see what could be your next thing. One thing you need to really acknowledge is it is mostly a temporary phase. Everybody goes through. At some point of time, it is temporary. Do not make it a permanent phase of your life. Now, what makes it temporary? How much of a confidence that you have. And it is this confidence which can go low when you have not hit a success point in the nearest past. You are always in your doubting phase. Second, the insecurity in the work can be more related to, a lot of it nowadays is being related to job stability and quite contrastingly with the salary that you can get. Post-COVID, we have seen jobs not being stable, and even in some of the biggest companies in the MNCs, we are seeing people being removed or people being laid off. So it is an institutional mistake for which people are being laid off, but that gives you a lot of insecurity. Next comes in your workload. How much of a workload can you handle? Right? How much can you handle? Can I handle that amount of workload or not? Am I ready for it? This kind of a question really impacts some of the people that I have come across. Not just that, even in my team. I also need to know how much workload I can take depending upon how well my team and me are performing. So if you're performing at our best, we can handle a little extra workload. But if you're not at your best, you will again see how much can I handle? How much can my team handle? Am I making them work extra? And this is something that as a manager we'll come across, as an employee we come across, as a team leader that you'll have to come across and say, can we lead the team into taking so much workload? Two main things which really impact a lot of them is recognition. If you don't get recognized well, you don't work it. I'll give you a most recent example. The Indian cricket team were playing in the World Cup, and you would see that after every match, there is a ceremony, a medal handing out ceremony for the best fielder or the best catch. What is this? This is actually a motivation. Just remember, this is an Indian team which is playing at its best, and still they are looking at motivation. They're looking at something which recognizes their work. It's a small medal, but you have seen pictures where people, after performing their really best on the ground, are making gestures, okay, making gestures that they deserve a medal for this activity. So this, even at this high competitive level, there is always a motivation that they look for. This is the human element. All you need to do is recognize your people either in public or in private, but at least tell them that they are recognized. They are being seen. And not being seen for quite some time leads into person into doubts. But if you frequently give them, frequently could be once a quarter or once a month, a quick pep talk makes a difference. But not having that pep talk over a period of time makes them feel that they are invisible and their contributions are not valued. So that's another insecurity. Then there is growth. How much growth can you give? Do they see sufficient growth in their team? If they don't see growth in their team, they will not perform. I'll give you an example of what I do in my team. What I do is, if I have a team of say 10 people, and I know that with experience in this matter of 10, there are 3 or 4 people who are senior among them, and the rest 6 or 7 are 2 years down the line and 2 years down the line, freshers and just 2 years into the company. I find that if there are 4 people in the group and I can only promote one of them, what do I do about the other 3 who are on the same level? I have to do something about them, or I have to fight with the management or my manager to fight for the next promotion. So one way what I implement is, I give leadership to one of them and say, if I do not see you getting promoted, I would like to place you between the other people and you and give you an intermediary step there, such that you become a lead and you take independent action of these. Hand over them a project which I have and tell them, you execute, you are the leader. That I have personally seen people stepping up straight away. If they are capable, they definitely step up and they take the ability, they have the strength to go up. And they build it. It is like grooming them. And once you start grooming them, it is easier for me to convince my manager or the upper management to say, see, that gentleman or that lady in my team is able to really take up my load. So when somebody is willing to take up my load, they must be able to recognize some activity, give it to them. And this is an experience which I learned from my father. He told me, if you need a promotion, ensure that you take up your manager's role so that your manager feels comfortable to give you his part so that he can concentrate on the next promotion for himself. So unless he is able to replace himself, he will not be replaced elsewhere. So you create space for somebody to take your place so that you can occupy and go try for your own manager's space. So it's a growth phase. You start to lean, you start to learn, you start to manage and get into it. So this, if you don't have all of these, if you do not have this growth chart, you would feel insecure because you do not know what to do next or what to aim for next. And this is where I come to a point where when there are insecurities, conflicts come up, or when there are project executions, conflicts come up. So what I have understood that conflicts come across with 2 major buckets. One is a personality, which basically means it is between individuals. Okay. And other one is substantive, where you have a tangible task related conflict that comes up. So when you look at the conflict that I see in personality, they are mostly emotionally driven. Anger, stress, and frustration are the 3 main common things which are. Happiness will never lead to a conflict. It leads to a solution. Okay. Being amicable will lead to a solution, never a conflict. These 3 things which are negative connotations, so will lead to. There are another things which may not be personality based, but they are really tangible and you have something here. And these could be your leaders have made a decision, you are not happy with it. and that is giving you conflicts. The company's direction in which is going, you don't like it, that gives you a conflict. A particular team member's performance is impacting the rest of the team, you have a conflict. So these are tangible, task-related impacts. Emotion on one side, task and tangible on the other side. Now, when you have these two kinds of conflicts, substantive can be easily resolved because you have a data, it is data driven. You can sit down and discuss about it and reach a conflict. But when you have a personality based conflict, you need to understand how, right? And this is where overthinking goes into a lot, because now if you do not have the objective nature of addressing the problem, then you will have to depend on somebody else, or you should step up and take up that responsibility. And here is where egos come into the picture, the emotions come into the picture, and you are kind of blinded, and there is a mask on your eyes when you need to address a particular problem objectively. And sometimes it happens that the resolution is not in your favor, and that also leads to frustration. And it can frustrate both at your end and in the opposite end. But if you are in the unlikely position where you are a referee or a manager trying to solve two people, now you have three problems to consider. One, the actual problem that needs to be solved, which is substantiative, but you have now two personality problems to resolve. So you're working with three now problems. And this is a unique problem that every manager has to go through, or every senior person in the team has to go through as you go through. So this midlife scenario, right, in a professional career is where your chances of thought process not getting impacted, you not getting your progress going forward, gets into the picture. So I think this is kind of the slide where I would like to take a pause before I progress any further. So do you have any questions that is there? Before I go to the next, do you have any questions that you would like to ask or take these things forward? Because now is where the discussion can lead and you can work with. Suhail Saab, you had a question. Can you repeat that? What did you refer to?
Like you were saying about promoting someone and giving some space to others to work on.
Okay.
That part I got some confusion. So can you please repeat that, sir?
I will do that. So let me use that. Let me reshare so that so what I was meaning here is, so if you have certain amount of work that you need to do, and that work is within this box, right? You need to execute all of these, your responsibility. Right? What you could try and do is take a big chunk of your responsibility, hand it over to a team member, and then call him a leader. And tell him, you take responsibility of this. Rather than just being my team leader, you take a portion of it and develop. You can, and the quantum of work that you do depends upon how much you trust them that they can lead that. So you will mostly see that you can have 2 or 3 of these work, but at different sizes. So this makes you acknowledge that these people are your future leaders in your team. So try and give. These are all the rest of the tasks which you do it with the rest of the team members along with them. you give this team leader this open work. Now, what you do is, along with giving this team leader, give him or her a few more members to support, such that that team leader now builds his own smaller circles. So this ensures that you can start building teams within teams, and then you will get a hierarchy, or I won't say hierarchy, you will get various tree-like structures that you can lead into. So this could be your tree structure. You could start building teams here. And this is where you will see a lot of team happening. Every team, you will have an individual contributor who is not a good team builder, but is great at doing individual stuff. So you will keep them as individual contributors. But others, you will become your first level managers, where you assign one team for them below. And if you look at typically any org structure that happens, you will typically see this coming to the picture. So if you really have to annotate, I would annotate it this way. The manager has got these roles, right? This is your entire boundary. Then some of these individual contributors, you leave them up. Who would these be? These people are who would you call expertise of something. They will go deep into one, but stay deep there rather than doing the others. The other ones would be your first level managers, who are your future leaders. So these could be your teams. And see, within each one of them, you would get the next rung of leaders that you're planning for. So this is also called growth planning that you have in your team, and take it further. Because if the manager leaves, the team should not get orphaned. The team should still be able to run on its own. So I hope you got the concept, Suhail sir.
Yes, Javed sir. One more thing which I was discussing with my colleague. He was saying that even if they are giving me responsible, okay, I don't have an issue. But when it comes to financial, like salary hikes, that's where it matters. Even if I don't get any position, I don't matter. That I want a salary hike. So in those scenarios, what will this what we can do?
Okay, so
in those kind of scenarios comes up.
So there are two things. One, you only want a salary, but you do not want a growth position, is it?
Yes, he says, okay, if growth is okay for me, if I'm getting a growth is okay for me. But when there is growth, but no salary hike, that's where the problem comes.
So there is growth, but no salary hike, you have an issue. You only want salary and you also want growth. In some places, you want only salary and no growth, okay? See, this is, pardon me, I am a electronics guy. I need to build a logic table to understand your question. Sometimes it's easier. So when you build a scenario like this, when you want growth, so this person is having a big picture, right? So he's aiming for the big picture, and he knows that I may not get a salary now, but I will definitely get a salary later. So he will negotiate for power. And these are the people you typically need to look for when you're building a team. Person who is getting both salary and growth is somebody who knows the big picture and is implementing it. Right? But person is only going for a salary, he is only looking at short-term success. Right? So this short-term success is good, but may not help you or your team in the future. So if you get an opportunity as a team lead, so what do? You need to translate this person here. Right? You need to make
Okay.
effort to translate this person this place, because this person is never going here.
Yeah, sure, please.
He will never go there. So you only need to show that, okay, you want the salary, but I will give you salary when you get the big picture, because that way your implementation is going forward. It is not stuck.
Mhm.
So you will have to find a way to do this. Not easy, but this is one of the easiest way to take forward.
Yeah, I got your point.
Got your point, right?
Yes.
No, salary negotiation is always a difficulty, but always this is again bound by multiple topics. What is the company's budget for it, right? Are they making some profit? Okay, if they are not giving salary in cash, are they giving it in kind, infrastructure, benefits, perks, or are they giving it in shares and compensating it? There has to be some way this has to be compensated, and depending upon the company scenario, you will look into one of these problems. So this is what I would call as a salary versus growth discussion when you have. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other question? It depends on broader organizational policies. That is correct. Thank you, Munir sir, for your.
I have one question.
Please share your name so that I know who's asking the question.
My name is Anwar. I am
Yes,
a
sir.
senior project manager in IBM.
Wonderful. Yes.
Okay. So when you grow, for example, when you grow to a higher level, then the problem is then opportunity reduces.
Right.
So when you're in middle, maybe getting a new project easy, but when you grow to higher level, then number of people who are in a higher position reduces,
Right.
which causes you to be bench for more time compared to norm, like when you are in a lower position.
Correct.
So this creates sometimes job security issue, because they may keep for 2 months or maybe 3-4 months, and then if no opportunity is there, you'll be asked to go. So that kind of situation also is coming, especially when market for IT goes down.
Right.
So what is your advice there?
So the only thing that I personally, what I would see is there are two ways of handling this. One, by working in an organization for long, you need to have an understanding of predictability, that you should by now have gained the experience of how to predict the market, or at least know the direction in which the market is going. Because if you are not able to do that, then there is a skill that is being lacked in the approach. So how do you do that? I did see in some of my managers here where I'm working, the ability to read between the lines of the decisions that are coming up helps them a lot. So what do you read between the lines? This is something that comes with experience or the ability. So decision of the leaders, if you can read that, and each statement that they make, if you can work backwards or do a projective understanding of what it is, helps you get certain points, and there are easily you can read them. So this is one. Second thing what I see is when you are in the senior team, the managerial skills that you have is basically to manage. So how can you manage the scenario there? Now this scenario is you being benched and not given a senior role. Now, one thing we need to acknowledge that we are in, when we build an organization or in an organization structure, as you grow up, the number of opportunities, number of chances reduce. Now, there are two ways to do it. One, you know that where is your next bottleneck. So in that bottleneck phase, you need to avoid that bottleneck track, or you need to pivot from your regular direction. You need to pivot to a place where bottleneck is not present. So this is something that we need to acknowledge in leadership skill, right? The ability of prediction, the ability to assess the market, know what else is expected. So this is something that happens. And when you're working in large MNCs in India, where even for a very senior role, you might have about 100 people. And in the next phase, there is only space for 20. So the question lies is, what do the other 80 do? What do these 80 people need to do to get out of this rut? So most of the times, the easiest escape that people do is move to a new company. First, they will try to move to a new team, which I would call a pivot. If not, move to a different company as an easy solution. The tough solution is work through the pyramid and go up. So this is where they sometimes do upskilling. Initiate new projects such that they get leadership and you build a parallel portion here. So Anwar Saab, hope you got the picture of how we could do. Though you are a senior yourself, but I think you would identify that some of these solutions are already well in place, and a lot of people continue to build these or use these.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So now that we have said what is overthinking and what we can do, here are a few suggestions that I read through and which can help us overcoming overthinking. First thing, step back and look how you're responding. How do you look at, how do you respond? How do you take these opportunities? Second, find a distraction. It could be good, it could be bad, but try to distract yourself for a short duration such that you going into the negative spiral is avoided. That's where you see, avoid negative thought spiral. Focus on a different thing. On a different task, which would engage you for a certain time. Or rather somebody would say, keep yourself busy. Now, being overthinking itself is busy. This busy is not mental, physical. Right? This will help you in doing something. Sometimes just take a deep breath when you go. Is this practical? Yes. I'll now take 1 minute to at least take a deep breath 10 times. Just see how well it could calm yourself. This may not give you new thoughts, but it will prevent you from going downwards. So it is a preventive mechanism. After preventive mechanism, you become neutral. After neutral, then it becomes an opportunity enabler. It only enables. You will still have to do a lot of work, but just taking a deep breath gives you that calm for a moment. Meditate. A lot of people do this. I go and do namaz. This is for this couple of minutes when you do that 2 rakat of namaz. It's just calms you down for that moment. The thoughts are there, but they are not intervening. You are just overriding those thoughts with something even more better. Works, but it so sometimes happens that for the duration of the prayer, it's fine. But the moment you do the salam, these things again crop up. So your mind sometimes also has the ability to partition your thoughts, say for a short duration, explain the task, but again bring it back again. This is something that we can work with. So meditation or prayers also help. But sometimes reciting something aloud. Reciting aloud is actually beneficial in 2 ways. One is called the frequency. Every sound has a frequency, and this frequency can heal your body at times. So try and identify those recitations which can lead you to the lower frequencies. Right? Lower range of frequencies which you can calm your mind. So doing that brings you. Now, another thing is when you step back and look at it, and sometimes you look at how you're responding also. This we just covered. This is the picture where I always say, look at the bigger picture. Right? You're always looking at something. There is a thought. But this thought should always lead you to a big picture. And this thought typically is only a small portion of it in 2 or 3 scattered places. Once you look at the big picture, you know either how inconsequential your small thought is or how consequential it is to the big picture. It gives you a different perspective. And this perspective can impact your view and your thought. This is a term called automatic negative thoughts. I didn't know about this till about a few days back. And this is something which take you into the spiral, thought spiral. Each one has got a thought milestone that comes in. The thing is, each point may not be covering your base, but this journey was supposed to be like this. But the moment you hit the second milestone, this leads you into a different thought journey and you digress and go elsewhere. The ability to bounce back from here like a ball takes time. So try to recognize a pattern. The moment you're hitting the pattern, try to draw a line here and say, okay, enough. I need to take a break here. You take a break, but ensure that you do not break. Do not break down. So if you do not take a break, it will lead to you to break down. So try to be away from this phase. Easiest way I found that is acknowledge your success. So a good friend of mine, while I was studying in IISc, his name is Siva. Complete name is Sivaramakrishnan. So what he said was, build something called your bragging document. Remember this. It's called bragging document. This means every success, small or big, you document it in your work life and review it at the end of every half, first half and second half, and then every year. This should tell you that there are multiple milestones that you have crossed to reach this phase. And yes, there are lots of ups and downs, but each ups and down has taught you a message which will lead you to your crescent on top. Build your milestone. And always know, after a dip, there will come an upper one. Because life goes sinusoidally. Like after every day, there is night. After every night, there will be day. Until it is not day, your work is not done. Right?
Javed bhai, very interesting thing you said. And just this thought came to my mind out of a blue. If you look at how you write the word life, L-I-F-E. So L is big. I mean, its height is more.
Okay.
Then I has a smaller height. Then F has a higher height, and E has a smaller height. So what you said, ups and downs of life, the word life itself is like that.
True. So it is the cursive nature is what you are referring to, right?
Right.
Thank you. Well put, Sir Sab. I really like the way you associated it with. Thank you so much. So, taking you to the last 2 slides of my talk, I would always say stay present. If you remember, there was a diagram which I had drawn saying we are always getting stuck with what is happening in the past. So this is your future. This is the past. And you're always stuck in the thought process. You miss staying in the present. Stay in the present. Acknowledge it. Because this time is always in the present. Because it is something which is truly only yours. Everything else is either given to you or taken away from you. Time is truly only yours. Do not waste time. Do not waste the present. Because that indeed is your present. That's your gift. Enjoy the gift. Do not let it go. Do not let others take away that gift from you. So do not let others take away your time from you. It is your time. Stay in the present. Practice self-compassion. It is needed. You need to always tell yourself that yes, you've done a lot of work. You've done a lot of it. Please take your time to do it. And always, there is no hesitation in asking out. Ask for help. There's nothing wrong. Asking help means you have acknowledged something is amiss in you. This basically means 50% of your problem is solved. And once this is done, you can always go ahead and ask and reach out to people who can help you out. And with that, I would like to thank you for being such an amazing audience and fantastically attending my session. And I don't know how interesting it was for you people, but it's been more than an hour, 15 minutes more than my allotted time. But you have been great audience who has interacted. And now, if you still have some more time, we will take it up into a conversation and see how much I can take you through. So now I'm open to questions.
Assalamualaikum, Javed sir.
Walaikum assalam.
Javed sir, I have noticed a couple of things in the corporate world. Just want to highlight a couple of scenarios where people are having issues on regular basis. People who have in IT sector, it has been known that eventually after a couple of years of time, for example, a friend of mine who have 15 years of experience, he worked in 10 different organizations, right? Now, unfortunately, as of now, he is searching for a job since last 3 months.
Okay.
Because of his package, because of his age, he is more than 40. He is not getting, relevant opportunity. And when he is trying to lower down his salary package or lower down his position, still they are not accepting it. So he's like, what am I supposed to do? Is this a wrong decision which I took 20 years back to get into corporate? That would be better if I do a business. At least that will help me to grow.
Okay. No, that's an interesting approach, because you need to also understand what does growth mean for them. They're getting more responsibility, getting more power, getting more recognition, getting more money, because you will not get all of them every time. You need to pick one. And what I have heard, even from my father, who retired as a general manager and went into the leadership domain, into the higher management, he said that, remember, salary you will get sooner or later. Do not leave a company just because of salary, because your next company may not recognize you if you only leave it for salary. And you can get lost very easily when you're hitting the ages of 40 and 45. Always look for a role, a responsibility, and a job, and also look for what is the outlook that you have. What is the long plan that you have? Because it is at that phase, you need to look for the long plan and see what you're doing. Short plans just based upon not having the right salary may not be there. Yes, you might be getting a short salary now, but if you, for just the sake of a salary, if you leave a company, getting a job would not be very easy. So unless, no, now the other side of it is, you really want that salary, you have a lot of commitment sitting, then first apply for a company where you can get a higher salary and then leave your current job. Never make the mistake of leaving a job and then go looking for something else, because you have certain commitments which need the monthly salary to be credited to your account. So unless that is done, do not do. These are the words which he told me very long back, and I take them very seriously, because end of the month you have expenses and beginning of the month you have expenses. Not that it's not there every day, but these are definitive expenses which come in, which need you to be associated with a financial revenue stream coming into it. Does not need to be a job, but businesses are also not so easy. So always ensure that one revenue stream is landing in your bank account every month, irrespective of what you're doing. That is all I have for that point.
Thank you so much. You have any suggestions for any of these kind of candidates who can apply for the job?
There are two things. One of the reasons you are not getting the job you're applying for is one, either you're not presenting yourself right, or you do not have the sufficient skill, or you're not showcasing that skill in those 2 sheets of paper called your resume. So you need to match your approach to the job that you're looking for.
Got it. Basically, yeah, basically he must have to equip with the new technology. It's been outdated, whatever the knowledge or technology he was holding.
Correct.
So that is what I have also suggested him. Let's see. Let's hope for the best, inshallah.
Abdul Azim bhai, may I suggest something?
Yeah, sure.
Today, 3 p.m., we have a special session on career counseling itself. So you can ask your friend to join that. The same Zoom link at 3 p.m. So you'll be having a session especially on career counseling. So he can come over there. He can attend that, and he can put up his questions and doubts or whatever he want to clarify.
Inshallah.
So 3 p.m. today.
Okay.
Is this for experience and freshers as well, or just for?
Yeah. Okay. It's for both. Even students can also join if they want some guidance.
Yeah, that would be really impactful.
So at 3 p.m. same Zoom link, inshallah.
And in this session, do anyone have the opportunity to train people on ChatGPT? If there is available, I mean, if someone is equipped with that knowledge, it would be very handy for the people who want to learn ChatGPT.
Correct, exactly.
It's
So,
ongoing technology.
So in the morning 11 o'clock session, like we are having currently, so this is where we discuss about technical or non-technical sessions. And we already had a couple of sessions on ChatGPT, and the recording is already available on the MFIRD YouTube channel. At 3 p.m., we don't have any presentation. It's purely one-on-one career counseling. So whoever is interested, he asks their questions or doubts, and the counselors, the panel, they respond to it. So it's pure career guidance, career counseling session.
But there is no message on that shared, right, in the group by Saifbhai or someone else. We only have a message about this session that is happening.
Today morning, I sent with both about information of both at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. both.
Okay, I'll check it. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. So others can also invite their friends.
If possible, can you please send the invitation one more time in the group, because I couldn't see that.
Yeah,
it's the same message, but with two timings. One for 11 a.m., one for 3 p.m.
What we have received is only for 11 a.m.
Yes.
Okay.
I think you might have to send it one more time.
No, I already sent it. Maybe you got it from someone else.
I was in the group of 03 month meet Hyderabad.
Pardon? Okay. Just join at 3 p.m. So,
on the same link.
Yeah, same link, 3 p.m. That's all.
Okay, inshallah.
Thank you.
Jazakallah khair.
Back on the same session, are we continuing or do you want to stop, Javed sir?
If there are no questions, I'll take a leave. If there are questions, I'll address them and then take a leave.
I just wanted one or two statements, more or less. One thing is, from your explanation, please don't take me wrong, I understood more on the management perspective as to why the managers are doing what they have to do, right, in terms of the managerial skills and things like that.
Right.
But for us, I as a team member under such manager, the way you explain, I only understand the situation as to why you are doing that, right? And then at later slides, you basically explain how to avoid and how you can, not really get pulled into that negative thinking or overthinking kind of a situation. This is the crux of your whole presentation, correct?
Thank you. These are good summary.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Any other questions on the bridge?
Thank you, sir. It was a very wonderful session. First time I could see someone using a whiteboard for explanation. I mean, that was the best part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will do that. So, I think Munir Saab is asking me to share my social media links. I will just share it here. You all can please take a note. So you can reach me either on Instagram or YouTube. So either search for these two keywords, Dr. G S Javed or King Consultants Education. You can reach me on either one of them.
Thank you so much for your input, Javed sir. It was really nice and informative for everyone. Hope we will be in touch with these sessions on regular basis, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your feedback and wonderful comments. Looking forward to more interactions with you all on more such topics. So thank you to the organizers. Thank you, Saif Saab, for
Jazakallah, Javed bhai. It was a great session. MashaAllah, all of us learned also and enjoyed also. It was really great. MashaAllah.
Thank you. Thank you. I will all take a leave in that case. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Wa alaikum assalam, Javed bhai.
Alaikum
Thanks
assalam wa
everyone
rahmatullahi wa
for
barakatuh.
this session.
Jazakallah khair.